Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning to you, depending on where you are located in the world or depending on what time you're watching this podcast. So, I bring you greetings from the United States, from the great state of Michigan, also known as the Mitten State, and you are watching Get Into It live chats with Kimberly Willis. And we talk about cancer conversations with cancer survivors, the caregivers, doctors, nurses, anyone who's connected to the cancer community. And I am your host, Kimberly Willis. And I am not a stage one, not a stage two, but a stage three breast cancer survivor. And I am your wellness advocate. I'm here to help provide different products and services to you, such as my book that you see behind me that just released this month. So it talks about going from active treatment onto post treatment because I really know what it's like to have that rough transition. I also don't stop there. I have different shirts and things this podcast to be able to help share your voice. So make sure that you connect with me over at survivorscorner.net, on Instagram, survivors_corner, or on Facebook, Survivors Corner, or on YouTube, Survivors Corner. And if you know somebody that really wants to talk about their testimony or a doctor who wants to share their perspective on the cancer community, please make sure that you are putting on the contact information on the website so we can get to know each other and we can get ready to share your voice. But enough about me. Let's get into it and talk about our next guest. So, this is October still, and we're in our last week of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we have another breast cancer survivor. And I'm so excited to have my dear sister, Evette Hatcher, on there with me. So she is a wife, a mother, a baker. She does so much. Nana, as she said, Nana, I'm sorry, as she calls, with her granddaughter that she has. And she just wears so many different hats. But I want to share with you her message that she has to all of you.
Hi, I wanted to be able to spread awareness and to let everybody know that if I defeated cancer, so can you. And that cancer doesn't always mean a death sentence. Just know that God is with you.
Love it. Bring into this stage to our podcast, Evette Hatcher. Hey, sis.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. How are you guys doing? Hey sis.
Doing good. As we get ready to get into it, listen, everybody, all of my roses, make sure that you are liking, comment, and share because we will definitely show your comments on there. So anything that you want to ask her, she'll be able to answer it and things like that. But sis, I'm happy to have you on.
I'm happy to be on here as well. This is such a blessing.
Yes. So we talked a little bit about yourself and about how you're a wife and a mom and a nana.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, right now I'm at home. I live in Dearborn, Michigan. I've been married for 5 years. I have three grown men and sons, and I love to bake and I love the Lord. And I'm also an ordained minister as well.
I
Shout
love
out to
it.
my church, New Heaven Ministries.
Hey, what's going on? Listen, I'm excited about this whole baking thing. We're going to talk a little bit more about that a little later. The holidays is coming up, and
Yes, it
this
is.
girl likes to eat. So, I mean, I look like it, but I like to
Yeah,
eat.
come and let me satisfy your sweet tooth.
Oh, yes. So, listen, I know that you are a recent survivor. You are a 1 year survivor. So, kudos to you, first off.
Yes, God is
But
good. Yes, I am.
tell us about your testimony a little bit about dealing with cancer.
Okay, so I've had this lump in my breast since 2013, and I
Mhm.
would frequently get my mammograms every year up until I think it was 2017. I didn't get one, so when I went to the doctor, they was like, "You need to get you a mammogram." I said, "Okay." So 2017 was the last time I had a mammogram. So last year, like I said, I went to the doctor, and they was like, "You need to get your mammogram."
Mhm.
So I got my mammogram, and they did the comparisons from my last mammogram, and it was like, "Oh, it looks like it's gotten a little bigger, so we need to do a biopsy." So I said, "Okay, fine, no problem." I wasn't scared. I said, "Okay." So I went and had the biopsy done, and I had the biopsy done June the 9th, and then I got the results back on June the 13th of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
and it came back that I had breast cancer.
Wow. Tell us about that piece that you just talked about. You said that when you had to get the biopsy that you weren't nervous. Explain to me, how were you able to still keep your cool when you had to take it a step further?
It was my faith in God. I mean, I wasn't worried about anything at all because I knew God, had me. So I was just holding on to my faith in him. And I knew that he was going to see me through that.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good. So when you heard the words, you're diagnosed with breast cancer, did that change your faith and all? How did you proceed after hearing those words?
I was like, okay, I have cancer. I'm like, wow. I was like, I wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm.
So I found out I had breast cancer. I told my husband, and he prayed with me, and he was like, you're going to be okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so from there on, I had to make an appointment with an oncologist, and he informed me, what they found. The lump had gotten bigger. But prior to that, what he explained to me was I had a hysterectomy in 2019.
Okay.
And so he told me that it came from me having a hysterectomy, the hormones and stuff, because of
Wow.
the estrogen. So the estrogen and stuff that was producing in my body caused the lump to get bigger. It was attaching itself to my, my breast cells or whatever.
Mhm.
So that's what ended up happening. So then like I said, when I went to the oncologist, he informed that to me and my husband, and he said, well, we don't know if it has spread. It doesn't look like it has spread. So he referred me to a breast surgeon. And in the end of July, I had the lump removed. Also, I had my lymph nodes removed to see if the cancer had spread.
Mhm.
But it
Talk
was localized. They said it
us.
from, the mammogram and me having an ultrasound or whatever. They said it didn't look like it had spread. And then they confirmed it after I had, the lump removed and my lymph nodes removed. Mhm.
That's good. I know there's definitely a process to get through all of that, and I'm so
Yes, it
thankful
is.
that you had your husband by your side.
Yes, I
Walk
did. And I'm grateful for him too as well.
That's good. Walk us through having your husband by your side and how instrumental it was to have him with you.
You have to have a support system, somebody that's going to, encourage you, let you know that it's going to be okay,
Mhm.
keep you calm when you worry. I mean, he was all of that. He encouraged me, he prayed with me, he did all of those things. And it's good to have somebody there in your corner, knowing that you're not by your side while you're going through this. Because every time somebody hears the C word, the word
Mhm.
cancer, they think it's a death sentence. And like I said,
Right.
it's not always a death sentence for cancer. That's why it is very important that we as women get our mammograms. No matter what age you need to constantly get your mammograms every year, especially if there is a history of breast cancer or any type of cancer. Like my mom, she has multiple myeloma, which is like a form of leukemia. And then my dad's sister passed last year from cervical cancer. And then my mom's oldest sister, she passed away from breast cancer. So
Wow.
it was in my family. And then I also got tested to see if I was going to be high risk. And I think it's called a oncotype that
Mhm.
you get tested or whatever. And they came to find out that I wasn't high risk.
Okay.
So that was a plus for me as well.
That's good. I want to encourage someone to make sure that um, if you get a hysterectomy, that doesn't automatically mean that you will get breast cancer. So still do what you
Absolutely.
medically need to do. So there is actually over 10, I think almost about 15 different types of breast cancer. And some of them are
Wow.
driven by estrogen, some of them are not. So, like, just like you, mine was driven off of estrogen too. So now I'm on a drug called tamoxifen that is blocking all
I'm
that.
on tamoxifen as well. I was on Aricept the first time because he said it would be better for me, but
Mhm.
because it was so strong, it was too strong for me. I had to stop taking it because it was giving me chest pains.
Oh, we're gonna talk about these medications then, yeah, because that's that's a whole other thing
Right.
that you gotta deal with. So yeah, we're definitely gonna dive into that. But like make sure that you still are listening to your doctor's advice about if you have to get a hysterectomy or anything that you're going, because again, there's so many different types of breast cancer, and they're not all driven off of estrogen. Another one that's real prevalent in our African American community is triple negative, and that is
Yes.
not driven off of estrogen at all.
No, it's not.
So, just make sure. I just wanted to really put that disclaimer out because it only takes someone an excuse. Well, I ain't gonna get that done, or I'm not gonna do this to get it
Right.
going.
And then I also want to elaborate, and please, women, do your self breast examinations.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to do it, because you will find out a lot. You'll get to know your body better when you do that. You have to do that. Don't be scared to do that, because a lot of women wait until
Mhm.
later to find out, and by that time it's too late. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but do your self breast examinations. Please do it. If you don't know how to do it, there's media to help you, show you how to do
Mhm.
it, but you have to do it. That's very important too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Did you had to also get outside of the surgery, the chemo or radiation, or were you able to just stop at the surgery?
I had to get radiation. I did 20 rounds of radiation.
Wow, so that's about 4 weeks
Yeah,
of
about
radiation.
4 or 5 weeks. Yeah.
Wow, explain about that process.
I had to go every day. It was cool at first because I ended up ministering to other people that were there. I was good the first 2 weeks, and then the third week I got a little tired. Um, then I ended up getting my skin got really dark, and I ended up with oozing. Underneath my breast started to ooze, so they had to give me some medications. That was a little irritating, and but basically, other than that, I didn't have any side effects of the radiation except for the skin darkening, which is
Mhm.
common. um and that was it. And the oozing, and they gave me some medication to help treat that.
Wow. Please drop your comments if you have anything that you want to share with Evette. Please make sure you comment or like it, and make sure that you just encourage her too, just for thank her for being on the show. But
Thank
you
you.
said something um your first week or so into radiation that you were ministering to others. And I
Yes.
find it to be very profound because sometimes it's hard for some to encourage others while you're going through. So explain how you were able to do that and why it was important for you to do so.
I think sometimes when we get something, we all think that it's about us. It's
Mhm.
not always about us. Sometimes God gives us things to help other people. And I think this happened to me for me to share my story and for me to minister to other people. I encountered this one lady that was there, and I think she had ovarian cancer, and
Mhm.
she was like really, really sick. And I would just talk to her and let her know that God was with her, and that she was going to make it through that. And at the end, when she finished her treatments, she gave all of us flowers. I can't even remember that lady's name, but she was sweet as pie. And so even when I went to go get the biopsy done, I had this shirt on that I actually paid $5 for, and I
Mhm.
got it from Walmart, and it said hope over fear.
Mhm.
And when I walked in to go get checked in, like when you first get in, and they want to know all these questions about COVID before they give you a mask or let you proceed to your destination. This lady was like, yeah. She was like, you don't know how you encouraged me with that shirt. So I was okay. I was okay with what I had found out, or what I was about to find out. I wasn't discouraged at all. Not at all.
I think that is such a blessing to be able to encourage others while you're going through, and
Yes.
to recognize that you said that it's not always about you. Sometimes when we go through different trials and tribulations, it's really not about us. It's about how we're able to pay it forward and to
And
help
that's where
someone
we get our
else
blessings
do that.
from. Hmm.
Absolutely, because we've been equipped to handle it.
Yep, absolutely.
So you said that you had to do all this in 2021, which means you had to still do this in the pandemic, still dealing
Yes,
with COVID. It's kind of loosened up a little bit in 2021, but we still are dealing with the
yes.
uptick and everything like that. Explain what it's like to have cancer and go through treatment during a pandemic.
Whew, that's a good question. Once again, I had my husband, I had my faith in God, and it was, as that scripture says, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And God gave me the strength to endure this situation during this pandemic that we're still, going through. So
Mhm.
it was my faith again and my husband and my strength, the strength that God gave me to endure. Because a lot of people wouldn't have been able to, endure what I've had to endure, even
Yeah,
during this pandemic. I mean, it was a lot, going to the hospital every day for radiation, sitting there, having to wear a mask, and it was a lot.
I can imagine how that is. I know personally when I had to go through radiation, that you had to do a mold. So you got to go every day, like you said, Monday through Friday. So it's
Hmm.
not a once a week thing. So
Nope.
like with chemo, typically it's either every week, every 2 weeks, or even every 3 weeks. But
Yeah.
radiation, you got to do it every day. So you're going to
Every
the
day.
hospital every single day. And
Yes.
depending on how long your session is, it could be as quick as 15 minutes, or it might be a few hours, depending on the length of time you got to do the mold and everything. So what we mean by a mold, so think of pillows, like them boppy pillows,
Hmm.
and they are literally making a cast really of your whole shape, because you got to be able to hold your arm up or whatever position that they
Yes.
have to target, and you have to hold it. So if you already know, like if you got to hold this for a while, you start to get fatigued. So talk about how you were able to push through the mental side of dealing with treatments.
Okay, that's a good question because I almost forgot about that. So, when I first went to radiation, you talked about the mold. So I had to get like these little what do you call it? Dots.
Them tattoos.
Yeah, them tattoos. That's what you call right. They're the tattoos. I had to get the tattoos. I'm like, what y'all about to do with that? It was a needle pick, and it was so they'll know exactly where to do the radiation at. And also, oh, this the one part that I hated. Oh God, I hated this part. I had to hold my breath every
Yes.
so often. That was so hard for me to do. It
Did
was
they put
hard.
the
I
clip
was
on
like,
your nose?
yeah, they put the clip on your nose, tell you to hold your breath for
Mhm.
60 seconds. I'd be in there like, Lord Jesus, and I'd be up there looking at the ceiling with the things to calm me down. But then
Mhm.
after my first couple of sessions, I got used to it. But
Yeah,
that was hard.
it is,
That was
definitely
very,
is.
very hard. Very, very hard. I think the first day that I actually went to radiation and they had me do that, I was crying. I was like, Jesus, please let me make it through this because I can't do this. I can't do this. That was hard. That was real hard.
Now talk about what do you think was the most challenging part of your cancer treatment journey, your active treatment journey?
Doing that radiation.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was hard. Because the surgery was a breeze.
Mhm.
But doing the radiation and holding my breath, that was hard. And it made me think like, Lord, I really had cancer. I can't believe this.
Right. Right, it's definitely a lot. And I'm thankful that you shared that, because sometimes, especially for those who've also had to have chemo, like radiation, in my opinion, is a breeze in comparison to chemo. But sometimes we downplay how hard radiation really can be, because of the different things, the
Right.
skin
The side
burning or the
effects.
bruising that may go, how dry or dark your skin may be, and things like that. Sometimes, depending on where you're going, your face and different things can
Right.
make it a little bit more noticeable with that. So there definitely is a mental side to things,
Yes, it is.
with that, and you really have to rely on your faith to be able to do that. Were you open
Absolutely.
about your journey while you were going through?
Yes, very open.
Talk
I was
about
very open about it on Facebook. When I first found out about it, I let Facebook know.
that. Mhm,
I let all of my family know, what was going on with me. I wasn't hiding anything,
mhm.
not at all. I was very, very candid and very open about my journey.
With you being transparent, do you believe that someone was delivered by your walk and your testimony?
Absolutely.
Talk about that a little bit more without exposing the person.
Um, I had somebody contact me through Facebook Messenger, and she was like, I'm so glad you were open about your journey because I'm going through something similar. And she
Wow.
was like, and I want to thank you for being transparent because I don't know how I would have went through what I went through. Yep.
Mhm.
And then I had an old classmate, she was going through it too. And
Wow.
she inboxed me and she asked me because she said she was scared.
Wow.
And I would encourage her and her husband and let her know. I said, there's support. I said, if you ever need me, I'm here for you.
That's so good. And that's what you talked about earlier about,
Hmm.
it's not always about you. So look at the lives that you were able to touch just by being
Absolutely.
transparent, with that. So for those, if you're strong enough to do that, or if that's your prerogative, because some are just real private and that's okay as
Yes.
well. But for those who are willing to be transparent, you just really don't know the amount of lives that you touch, and not everyone would tell you that you have touched their
Yeah.
lives, and so sometimes months or even years later that your testimony has been able to help them endure their own personal battles, and sometimes it's not even with cancer. It could just be dealing with domestic violence, or it could be dealing with other health issues, but the way how you are able to carry through that is to be able to help encourage somebody else, and that is so amazing, that of the lives that you're able to touch, because
Yes.
people need that. Some we like,
Yes.
like, I know we hear all these stories in the Bible about healing and deliverance and things like that, but it's also so good to have real life examples of people who are living and breathing, walking, living testimonies to be able to share, like, hey, if I made it, you can too.
Yes. And I encounter people on Facebook that say that they have cancer. And I encourage them. I say,
Mhm.
sis, you got this. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. And children's is the healing. Children's
Yeah.
bread is the healing.
Yes, yes, yes. Talk about a little bit of, once you had came open about cancer and even to Facebook and things like that, has that changed any of your friendships or social relationships that you have with church members or even with your friends or family?
No, not at all.
That
Everything is
is,
still the same.
wow, that is good. I think that that speaks volumes of your support system, because I've heard it both ways. I've heard that once they find out about what's going on with you, that some shy away because they don't know how to be present.
Right.
And in your case, you have where everyone was like, okay, well, we pulling up our bootstraps too. We're gonna get
Right.
into this with you. And I love that. That is
Yep,
such
we support.
an
They always told me, we support you, sis. If you need anything, let us know.
talk about your church family, about how they were able to keep you uplifted during this time.
Well, my church family at New Heaven Ministries, my cousin is actually married to the pastor.
Oh, wow.
My
Awesome.
blood cousin. And so they knew about what was going on with me and they encouraged me. And when I got to church one Sunday and I let them know and I stood up and testified, one of the deaconess, I call her a deaconess, but she's an evangelist to me, even though she don't want to say that she is one. She knows who I'm talking about if she's on here. But anyway, she came up to me after church and she was like, here you are dealing with breast cancer and you just encouraged me. The problems that I thought that I was having, she was like, sis, she was like, you just encouraged me. And I want to thank you for that, because me thinking that my problems is all big, she was like, looking at you, I would have never thought, never thought.
Wow. Talk about your friendships, about how they strengthen you as well, because again, when you're going through the side effects and the mental anguish and you confide in them about different things, not every day is a glorious day, and we have those real life flesh
Moments.
moments. Talk about how they helped you.
They helped me a lot. I mean, I've always had a good support system, and I want to thank each and every one of them that supported me during that time. But they was always there for me. They was always there for me. Sis, you need me to do this. My husband was there for me. I was just blessed and fortunate, because not everybody has a good support system to uphold them and to carry them during that time when you're going through, your cancer situation. So I was thankful and blessed. They encouraged me, sis, you can get through this. And I did. I did.
I love it. Everywhere that you turn, you were supported in every single
Yes.
angle. Talk about the support of your medical team. So sometimes we forget about that. So you have to have support at home. You need to have support and your faith-based organization, and you need to have your support with your friends. But talk about the support that you need in your medical team.
You got to have a lot of support with your medical team. You got to trust that they know what's best for you. My oncologist, he was an older man, but he was very knowledgeable of the stuff that, that I was dealing with. And then I had the radiation doctors. They was very, very nice, even while I was going through radiation. And then even after, every so often I would go back to them, to the doctor, to make sure that I was doing okay as far as the radiation is concerned. And they asked me, do you have any concerns, about, what's going on, with your breast and things of that nature. So they were very good and very knowledgeable. And I want to thank the team at Beaumont Oakwood Hospital. I want to thank them for that.
Amazing. Yes, that having a strong medical team is very instrumental in the healing process, and to be very
Absolutely.
transparent so you know what your next steps look like. And speaking of next steps, let's talk about life after cancer. So
Wow.
there's a transition period, and we talk about how the topic of today's show is "My story doesn't end here." So
Absolutely.
there is a few ways we can look at that, right? We could talk about
Absolutely.
medically. Let's dive into that first. What is it like to have the transition going from active treatment over to post treatment? Is it what you thought it would be?
Um, yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, I have some side effects, from the surgery or whatever. I can't sometimes, lay on that side that the cancer was on, which it was on my left, on my left breast. But other than that, it was everything that I thought it was, going to be. My recovery was very, very quick. So I'm thankful to God for that. But yeah, it was a quick recovery. It wasn't, like I thought it was going to be. It was very, very quick. Very, very quick. I had a speedy recovery, and it was all due to God.
That's so good. Let's talk about the medications. So after treatment, so to bring you up to speed with everything, so when you have a estrogen driven cancer, they are doing everything to block it at this point, because they know that that's what feeds off of it, and everyone has a certain percentage of how the cancer may come back. Some might be 50%, it might be 30%, and then by them blocking the hormones, it lowers it. So there's different things. So if you haven't already been in menopause, you're now going to be in menopause.
I'm already there. Girl.
So that was one thing taken off. You had to hit directly. So that was one thing that you didn't have
Woo.
to worry about. But there is the medications that we talked about that you have to go through. So let's talk about the first medication that you were put on and about how it was hard, but then how your doctor listened to you to get over into the next medication.
Well, my oncologist, he told me after I found out I had cancer, and my husband and I, we went and we sat with the oncologist. He was like, we're going to put you on some medication. I said tamoxifen because I had heard about it already because I know actually a couple of people that were on tamoxifen. And I was like, okay. So I did some research and stuff on it. And the person that I know that my husband knows as well, she was taking tamoxifen. And she was telling me, the side effects, this is what to, expect while you're on it because she's a nurse. I'm like, okay. So then after I had the radiation and then I went back to him, he put me on Aricept. And I'm like, okay, well, why would you put me on Aricept? And so he said it would be better for me. I said, okay. So I'm taking the Aricept. I'm doing okay. But then I think after a couple of weeks or a month of me taking it, or about 2 or 3 weeks, it felt like my chest was caving in, like I was having a heart attack.
Wow.
I felt like I couldn't breathe. I'm like, no. And then it made me feel like I was depressed. That was one of the side effects as well. I said, oh no, I can't have this because I don't want to live my life taking this medicine for 5 years and it's making me feel like I'm down when I'm not a down person. I'm, happy, chipper. I was like, no. So called the doctor and told him, I said, look, I can't take this medicine. So he put me on tamoxifen. And so that's what I'm taking now. And he told me that I would be taking that for 5 years. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not taking this medicine for 5 years. No, I will not.
Listen, how is that helping you in spite of the other one?
It's a little better. I get hot flashes. But there's a lot of side effects to this medicine, which is why I said I'm not going to be taking it for 5 years. Yes. When I went to the doctor, let me see. I think it was back in April. I went to the doctor and she told me that I needed to make an appointment with my OBGYN because the tamoxifen can cause cervical cancer. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't have nothing. All I have is my ovaries. And so she said, you still need to make an appointment. Also, it does something to your kidneys and your lungs, if I'm not mistaken. Also, it can cause blood clots in your leg. I'm like, this medicine, what? I'm like, this is ridiculous. I get hot flashes. My joints ache really bad. I said, man, a medicine that's supposed to work for one thing has all of these side effects, and I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with that at all. Not at all.
Yeah, no, I totally get that because I have been on, I think, 4 of them. First, I was on anastrozole, then letrozole, and then I think something else. And now I finally landed on tamoxifen, and I call it a necessary evil because obviously it's helping you lowering your chance of getting cancer, but then just everything that you mentioned, like it's really rough to deal with that. And I think sometimes people really don't understand that after cancer they think that you're back to normal again, and
no, you're not.
You're not. So talk about this new normal of dealing with, okay, I got to take this medication. They said up to 5 years. I ain't feeling it like that because I'm aching. I've got all these different side effects. So talk about your motivation to keep going on in spite of how you may feel when you wake up every day.
I have to keep moving, because then if I don't, if I be confined in these four walls, I'm liable to lose my mind. And I'm just being honest, because I have to move. I have to keep my mind occupied on something else other than what my body is dealing with. I have to keep it moving. And
Yeah.
so therefore I can't let the medicine defeat me, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And
No.
so my thing is, I get up every morning, I do what I have to do, and I keep it moving. I have to. I can't just lay around and say, okay, oh, I'm aching, because the medicine will defeat you if you let it. I mean, I have to keep it moving. I have to keep moving. I have to keep going. I can't, stop. As they say, one monkey don't stop no show. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep pushing.
That's good.
I have to keep pushing.
We got someone from Pakistan that has joined in. And please forgive me if I butcher your name. I'm going to say it as best as I can. I think it's Delawar Khan. We thank you for joining us today. And he asked, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
That's good. Thank you for joining in today.
Thank you.
And, I think that what you just said about making sure it doesn't defeat you is really key. And I know you have recently encouraged me as well, as we were talking about, coordinating with you getting on the show. And,
Mm-hmm.
and notice, we talked about, some of the issues that I'm dealing with asthma now that I got after cancer. And you mentioned about, which I didn't know, I knew about most of the stuff with tamoxifen, but I didn't know that it added to the issues with your lungs. So something like, listen,
Yes.
I want to say that probably added on to, because I never had asthma before. So
Wow.
now I
See?
have developed this one thing. So, she mentioned about having the black seed oil into my diet now. So I took it. I haven't got, all the way in it yet, because for me, I know I'm at a place, and I don't know if you ever felt this way before. I'm at medication fatigue. I'm over it. So I
Yeah,
have
you're over it.
somebody,
You're
you
tired of
know,
it, because you've been
yes,
down that road before, and you so tired of taking this medicine, this medicine, this medicine, and this medicine. But trust me,
yes,
that's
yes.
gonna help them.
And I have been, and we just had Emily Evans just a few weeks ago, and we talked about different nutritious things to incorporate in our
The
diet. And
diet,
it's been
absolutely.
very helpful in my walk with taking sea moss, or if it's making sure you're drinking more water. There's a lot of healthy things to help try to combat some of the side effects. So what else are you doing to ensure um that you are making sure that you stay healthy?
Nothing really. I'm just taking my vitamins, because they talking about COVID, and then all these different strands of COVID. I make sure that I take my zinc, my elderberry, my black seed oil, my vitamin D. I make sure that I keep my immune system up. Now, I didn't mention this, but to like help with the side effects of the menopause side effects,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I need some medicine that's gonna help with these devil of us hot flashes that I be having.
Yes,
So a friend of mine told me about black cohosh. I
I've
started
heard of that.
taking them. I
Mm,
can't take black cohosh, because what it does is, and they don't tell you this, it put hormones back into your body. The
yeah,
same hormones that tamoxifen is trying to block, is
that
putting
is
it back
added
in
in
there. So I couldn't take the black cohosh, and it actually helped, because I suffer from insomnia too.
there. Mm-hmm.
And it works, but I couldn't take it. So now when I went back to my doctor and I told him, well, I'm suffering from insomnia. I can't go to sleep because of these hot flashes and this medicine.
Mm-hmm.
He said, oh, well, we can prescribe you some medicine, but it's for depression too. I said, oh, nope, I don't want that. I'm not taking that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not taking no depression medicine. I'm not going to do it. So now I have to try to find something that's going to be comparable to my system that I can take, that's not going to counteract with my tamoxifen.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because there's a lot of research that we also as survivors have to do on the back end to make sure that there's not interactions to different things. And like for instance, dealing with the hot flashes, that's really tricky because most of them are adding the hormones back in. So you have to like almost just
Absolutely.
kind of deal with it until you kind of find it. And I will encourage you as the years go on, it does die down. It's not as intense as you're taking tamoxifen, but still dealing with those side effects is it's crazy. But then I want to talk about the depression side of things because tamoxifen also can
Cause
induce you
depression.
into depression as well. And I know in particular my oncologist, I mean, since I probably have finished chemo, has been trying to get me on an antidepressant. And I'm like, no, no, no. So talk about, like I don't
Don't
knock
take it, sis.
antidepressant. If it's for you, it's for you. But for me, I didn't necessarily want to do that because um it just wasn't for me. And talk about how are you able to have the strength to say no to things that you feel that that's not aligned with you?
I'm not going to take no medicine that's going to, if tamoxifen, one of the side effects of tamoxifen is depression, why would I take some medicine that's going to help with the hot flashes, but it also causes depression? I'm not going to do that. We as women have to be our own advocate. We have to. If we feel that we don't want to take something, regardless of what the doctors say, you say no. You say
Mm-hmm.
no. You don't have to take that medicine. You do not have to take that medicine.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to take that medicine that he was talking about it going to cause depression, but is it'll help you with your sleep. Oh, no, no, no. I'm not doing that. We have to be our own mouthpiece. We have to be our own advocate. So if you feel like something doesn't add up, say no.
Yeah. Yeah, and you definitely have to make sure it adds up with you. And if that's the road that you want to go down, I know some successful people who has been on an antidepressant and it works for them. And then I know other people who are like myself who doesn't necessarily want to travel down that road that it's okay. I think both lanes are appropriate as long as it aligns with what you feel that is best for you. I think that's really
Absolutely.
important. I think that any medication that you take, you need to look at the pros and the cons of it and see if it aligns with you, to make sure that you are making the decision that you want to make for your health and see if that is beneficial for you or if it's going to hinder you a little bit more. I know for me, it was a no for me, and I continue to say no because that's just not what I want to do. I think I may have tried it one time just to finally said I did it because I mean I'm a 5-year survivor, and I mean it was year after year after year. I'm like, all right, but still
Right.
at that one day, and I was like, oh no, this is not for me. I
Oh, and
need to
also I want to
stop
say
it.
about the black seed oil that I told you about.
Mhm.
It's going to help with the tamoxifen too. I read that.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm gonna get back into it. So you encouraged me to do it. It's just been like a
I
journey for
understand.
me. It's been such a journey for me, and I'm thankful. Look, you're encouraging me on this show, and I'm so thankful to
Me
have you an
too.
encourager, helping an encourager. I absolutely love that. What would you say to a survivor who is not in the positive mindset? They are dealing with all of the medications they're dealing with. They're just not handling this well.
Right.
How would you encourage them to get to the other side?
I would say, sis, you're not alone. You have help.
Mhm.
You're stronger than this. You're bigger than this. God made you so you would be able to bear this.
Mhm.
This is not a death sentence. And don't look at it like it is a death sentence.
Yeah.
God gives his biggest battles to his strongest warrior, and you are a warrior. You are a fighter. And that's what I would tell her.
That's so good. That's so good. Listen, I was just at a recently at a educational symposium. And
Okay.
there is new technology that's coming out. So I kind of want to talk
Okay.
about that a little bit. That's good. But first, I want to highlight, make sure that, you know, one of the survivors that was honored on this past weekend, her father had died of breast cancer. So, men, you too,
Men get
unfortunately,
it
get
too.
it.
Yes.
So if you're having any complaints about your breast, or I shouldn't say breast, your chest, that's not normal. Make sure you go see about it. Wives, if or spouses, or your whoever that your partner is, please make sure that you are communicating so then they can go see about themselves, and to ensure that you're okay, so both men and women can get this ugly disease. So make sure you do that. There's some new technology that's coming out, so we know that there are ultrasounds, there are breast MRIs, there are mammograms that are there to help detect breast cancer. But there is a new technology that's coming out. Henry Ford
Wow.
is it Henry Ford, or it might be Carmanos? I'm sorry, one of those hospitals. I think it's Carmanos that has this new technology where it's almost kind of like a mammogram type bath, where it is
You
able
said a
to.
bath?
It's oh yes, because it's like literally scanning the whole thing. It's like a warm bath almost in this
Wow.
localized area, and it's able to see your chest wall. Is able to see the sound of it, how big it is. It's really, and it's quick, and it's more accurate. So they're able to go through the dense breasts as well, because those who have dense breasts, it's really hard to see if you have breast
That would
cancer.
be me. I was just getting
So
ready to say that I have dense breasts, and they said, sometimes I have to get another mammogram because my breasts are so dense, or they have to compare it to my previous mammogram. Mhm.
yes. So make sure also that you're getting a breast MRI. So you have your mammogram, and then sometimes the insurance companies make you wait 6 months. Get your breast MRI, because then that will take a second look, and that will get passed through the white cloud. So the reason why this is such a big deal is because when you're looking at an X-ray, you're seeing a whole bunch of white. Most of that is the denseness, and then the cancer shows
Right.
up white. So if
Right.
you have a white screen, but then you got your cancer in between it, you won't be able to see that. So the breast
Absolutely.
MRI helps to see past that. But then also this new technology that's coming out, which is getting installed, I think he said last week, is going to be able to detect that. So I can't wait till all the hospitals have it. I'm part of the Beaumont system as well. So
Okay.
I will let you know if it's part of Beaumont pretty
Right.
soon, because that is the next best thing, the sliced bread. I'm really excited about that. So please be on the lookout for that. But if you have dense breasts, make sure that you are taking those extra steps to ensure that your scans are good, because mammograms unfortunately don't catch all of those things for those with
Right.
dense breasts,
They
which
don't.
is real prevalent in the African American community and younger women as well. So make sure that ask, hey, what is the category of my dense breast? Because especially if you're in a category 3 or 4, you have to have a breast MRI or ultrasound and other things to ensure that they're getting an accurate thing. And if you're under 40 and they are telling you that, advocate. Like she said, use your mouthpiece and make sure that you're doing the necessary things to ensure that you are um, making sure your health is good.
And I
So,
also want to
mhm,
add too that if you don't have insurance, there are programs out there
yes.
that will allow you to get um, a mammogram for free. You just need
Mhm,
to talk to your OBGYN and
mhm,
see, be the mouthpiece. Don't just not get a mammogram because you don't have any insurance when there's
yeah.
programs out there to help you get one. I just wanted to say that too.
That's so good. No, definitely. There are resources out there. There are Facebook groups that are out there. Use
Yes,
what you have and
absolutely.
what you know. Google it if you have to. Hey, what resources do I have without insurance? And let that be your guide. But definitely don't think that you have to treat it as a death sentence, like you said. So we are in the last 10 minutes of our show, and we got to talk about this food that you are you
Yes.
yeah. So talk about, how long have you been a baker? What are the type of things that you bake? And talk about how you sell them.
I've been a baker for a very, very, very long time. I'm 52 years old. I've been baking since I was 20 something.
Awesome.
And really just recently started back baking since 2018. I started back baking in 2018. And so I love to bake. I love to bake cakes, pies, whatever I can bake, I bake.
And I love homemade from scratch cakes. It's
Yes.
amazing. What would you say is your signature cake and or pie?
I make sweet potato pies. I make banana pudding. I do this strawberry cheesecake pound cake, and my lemon cream cheese pound cake are my biggest sellers.
Now you done got me with the strawberry shortcake. Now that is it. Listen, I want to make sure that you are staying connected with her. Make sure you follow her on Facebook, Evette Still Have Joy Hatcher, or on Instagram, Hatcher's Wife 819. Again, you see it right there on Facebook, Evette Still Have Joy Hatcher, or on IG, Hatcher's Wife. It's HTCHWIFE 819, and that's on Instagram. So how are they able to place orders with you? Can they DM you on these channels?
They can DM me on Facebook. They can message me on Facebook.
Okay, awesome. So make sure you do that. Are you having any upcoming holiday sales?
Yes, I am. I'm getting ready to prepare for Thanksgiving. That's usually my biggest sales is during Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
Tell us what we're going to look out for. Some good. You say what?
Tell us what we're going to look out for. Are you going to are you going to have a set menu, or can people just choose what they want?
I have a cake list, and I will be posting that in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome.
But normally my frequent customers, they're already placing their orders now.
Listen, make sure you do not miss the train.
Make sure you don't miss the train. Yes. Come and let me satisfy your sweet tooth. You will not be disappointed. Trust me.
Listen, don't wait till the week of or 2 days before Thanksgiving, because it's going to be, because listen, the way how these grocery prices are, you need to make sure that you get your stuff in now, so you're not stressed. And if it's your first time trying to bake for the holidays, why don't you go ahead and let Evette take care of you?
Yes,
and then
let me take care of you.
Trust and make sure it's right, and then you can present it the following year. So you want to make sure that you satisfy that sweet tooth. Follow her on Facebook, and look forward to her list that's coming out. I could probably guarantee you sweet potato pie is probably going to be on the list. Am I right?
Yes, it is. Oh, and also I make the bomb peach cobbler, because my friend, she says the stuff that I put on the top, she calls it cinnamon toast crunch.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. I'm excited. So make sure, again, you follow her. I'm excited about next week's show. We're going to have Kate Bryan from One Girl Revolution, who's going to be on. She was a caregiver. Her mom recently just passed away from a terminal cancer, and she's here to talk about how to live through the legacy. So I want to make sure that you guys tune in next week. But I am so thankful that you are here today. Is there any last minute things that you want to share with our roses today?
No, just make sure that you get your mammogram, your yearly mammogram, and do your self-breast examinations. Those are the key to a healthy breast. Don't be afraid to reach out and get the support that you need. If you don't have any insurance, make sure that you check with your OBGYN, because like Sister Willis said, there are resources to help you with that. Don't be a statistic. Get your mammogram done.
Love it. Again, make sure you're following her. I'm going to push this. Make sure you're following her. Follow her on Facebook.
Yes, follow me on Facebook or Instagram.
Get that so you can get your orders in and things like that. But then also make sure that you're following me over at Survivor's Corner on all of these channels. I just dropped some new merch. I got some hoodies out there, and we got some more that's getting ready to come out. So make sure that you're following me and going over to survivorscorner.net for all of your survivor wear needs. And even just to help encourage you going through things. So until next week, I hope you guys have a blessed one, and you will take it easy. Take care.
I'll be blessed.